My name is Big Time. My name is Big Time. And this is just a fucking rant video because, oh my God, I have stupid fucking white women, white liberal women in my family, and they just. Talking to them is like talking to a brick fucking wall. And it is 100% true that liberals see what they want to fucking see. They can't see what is right in front of them. So I was having this conversation with this woman, this white woman in my family, and I was talking about how, the humanitarian crisis of all the immigrants being shipped to Chicago. And immediately upon talking about this, the first right out of the mouth of this white woman was, "Oh, you have a problem? What happens when immigrants come into your town? Is that a bad thing?" I think the implication was I'm like xenophobic or something. Oh, I'm a racist white cheese supreme pizza because immigrants are coming to your town. Oh, what happens when immigrants come to your town? So I wanted to answer that question with some evidence. And then of course we're going to cover another sad story because there are no fucking happy stories anymore. One sec. So of course we got to talk about, at least give some coverage to this police officer. Rest in peace. The bad ones just taking out the good ones, and it ain't going to change.
New details Tuesday about several people arrested this morning in the
We're using this as an example of the fact that Chicago is Blackistan. Chicago is a war zone, okay? First question: what the fuck is the point of pumping people into Chicago? Those people, those immigrants, they're going to get killed, okay? Chicago is on fire. Here's an example of a woman who was killed by blacks who approached her. So the blacks were out riding around looking for Easy Vicks. They thought she was an Easy Vic and they killed her. She was able apparently to get a couple shots off, according to the report, but they took her badge and her gun. Okay. So here's an example of just how dangerous Chicago is. And I can't understand. The only reason I can think of is money. They're bringing immigrants to Chicago because per immigrant, every immigrant, they make money. That's it. They don't care about their safety. Uh, just watch.
shooting death of a Chicago police officer. 24-year-old Ariana Preston was shot and killed on Saturday outside her Avalon Park home.
WGN's Brona Tumulty is joining us now from police at 35th and Michigan. Brona.
Good evening, Ray and Lourdes. An extremely sad story
Why does she have this accent? What the fuck is that about?
all around. Some of the people who knew and worked alongside Officer Ariana Preston speaking out today
Ah, me boy in the IRA.
and getting somewhat choked up, talking about a 24-year-old woman who had her whole life ahead of her.
It is very difficult to even speak.
Sergeant Vivian Williams becoming emotional today at a City Club event while speaking about slain Chicago police officer Ariana Preston.
Great kid, great police officer. Slayed in, sorry, gunned down on the streets of Chicago.
Just 24 years old, she'd served the city for the last 3 years, worked out at the 5th District, and was gearing up for her master's graduation ceremony this weekend.
She just earned a master's degree at 24. Comes from a wonderful family. Became a police officer. Did everything
Boy,
right.
thank God we have fat female cops to protect us. I mean, to die, to be a bullet sponge. Thank God we have fat female. Look at this fat cop. What the fuck is she gonna do? This is just as bad as London.
Did everything right.
Instead of seeing her walk
She can't even, she has a hard time walking.
the stage, her loved ones are planning her funeral as the police community rallies around them.
You got a grieving family. We went over yesterday. We took food to the family. Some more relatives just came in, so me and Officer Lee are going to go back over to commanders with them now, and we're going to take more food over to the family.
Preston was outside her home near 81st and South Blackstone early Saturday morning when it's understood a group believed to be in their late teens and early 20s approached her.
When she got to her home and got out of her car, there were some individuals who wanted to take things from her. So they decided that they would pull a gun, take things.
It's unclear
I'm sure they were white, right? I'm sure they were white cheese supreme pizzas with MAGA hats, right?
how exactly things unfolded thereafter, but we're told Preston fought back.
From what we know, Officer Preston was able to get off a couple of rounds. She fought. She was a fighter.
Good for her. I wish she would have smoked one of them. I'm so tired of these ninjas, man. I'm so tired of it. This woman was a pillar of your community and you killed her. And you know they picked on her because she was a woman. They were thinking she'd be an easy Vic. I'm happy she at least was able to fight back.
While initially believed to be off duty, her penal of duty death, with as many as 6 people potentially set to face charges. At least some of those individuals were taken into custody early this morning in the 7600 block of South Bishop in the Auburn Gresham neighbourhood. That standoff involving SWAT team members and lasted, we're told, several hours.
For Ariana, there has to be a change. So, I mean, I would just appreciate anything you guys can do to help us make a change. This is who we are. We're police officers. That's just the job we do. I mean, we still are human.
Now, we mentioned Ariana had been working towards her master's, which we're told she was set to receive this weekend from Loyola. The university sending us a statement tonight saying our faculty and Officer Preston's fellow students will remember her as a dynamic, intelligent, committed and driven person who wanted to make this world a better place. Officer Preston's memory will continue to inspire those who had the privilege of knowing and learning from her. Now, we do know that a vigil is planned for Officer Preston tomorrow at the 5th Police District. Again, at least 4 people and as many as 6 likely to face charges over her death, and we expect to learn more about those charges over the next 24 hours. We're live at 35th in Michigan. Rona Tumulty, WGN News.
Somebody was saying the photos were leaked. I don't know if that's true or not. So, dang, stop. Do as I fucking tell you. So they said 6 people were arrested. So what it's sounding like is, and of course, they all have a CVS receipt. So they were driving around looking for a Vic, and that's happening in every part of Blackistan, in every city, every fucking major city that has a majority black population. If there's a hood, there's ninjas driving around looking for shit to do, looking for victims. Oh, you don't believe me? This was new.
Someone once said that
this was DC. Well, I think last week.
Facing serious charges tonight after DC police tell us they went on a crime spree over the weekend. They're accused of committing more than a dozen robberies across the district.
Investigators say this crime spree started early Sunday morning near Howard University's.
But we can't show you their photos, and we can't tell you what race they are because that would be racist. Thank God they're protecting the fucking criminals, right? This is right down the street from the president. So, you know, the safest country in the world, right? The most powerful country in the world, but we can't keep our ninjas under control.
Campus and ended 9 hours later. News 4's Walter Morris is in Northwest tonight with the details.
That's sad.
Sad, scary, and unfortunately not uncommon for Howard students like Naya Cunningham.
It happens a lot, though, every week, especially right here.
Sunday morning, the junior getting an email telling her to be on the lookout. Police investigating a carjacking here on Georgia Ave near Euclid. Cops say the suspects ran up on the victim just after 12:30 a.m., demanded their keys at gunpoint, then drove off in their car.
It's not surprising to me. It's really not surprising.
But investigators say that was just the beginning in a wild rash of robberies across the district. Police say over the next 9+ hours, the same suspects committed 13 armed robberies, and in some cases.
There. I picked this video specifically for this reason. 13 robberies, 3 ninjas, 1 car, 13 robberies. This is in DC. What do you think is happening in Chicago? Shit is getting so bad that they're starting to leak little bits of information, right? But we still can't tell you what they look like, and we still can't tell you the race, and the poor fucking kids, right? This is happening in every Blackistan in every city. So I will bet money it was the same thing with that cop. Those blacks, those ninjas, they saw a woman. They saw a woman. They thought she'd be an easy Vic, and she was brave enough to fight back in her moment of passing. She's going to go to Valhalla. But I mean, I wish she would have got one or two of them. I wish she would have.
He says,
So don't fucking tell me this isn't happening. This is 3 teens. 3 teens committed 13 robberies in less than half a day.
assaulting the victims before stealing their stuff. For example, a few hours and several robberies after that first carjacking, cops say they struck in front of this bar in Connecticut just after 5:30 a.m. and then minutes later, robbing someone else about a block up the street.
They need Jesus.
Police say that crime spree came to a crashing end here on Mass Ave at 2nd Street Northwest around 10 a.m. Sunday. Cops say they'd been chasing the suspects when they hit another car and tried to make a run for it. A 16-year-old arrested and charged with driving the stolen car, and 2 15-year-olds arrested and facing charges for the armed robbery.
So those are still kids.
They should be in school. You're 16, 15 years old.
You're a dumb bitch.
And while the teens accused of these crimes,
They'd beat the shit out of you and rob you, you dumb bitch. They should be in school. See? And dumb motherfucker and dumb fucking women like this girl. See, it's funny. It's funny. You shouldn't be allowed to vote.
with the crime near campus, and she has this message.
I don't judge the area based off people who are in it because the area isn't robbing me. The area isn't carjacking my car. The area isn't targeting me. It's people targeting me. So it's not the area, it's the people. And people should raise their children better or keep a better eye. Your child is 15, 16. Do you know where he is, ma'am? Do you know where your child is, ma'am?
Oh, shit. Oh, so conservative talking points from the 1990s. Oh, thank you, Thomas Sowell. Yeah, they're really going to listen to you. Yeah, they're afraid of you.
That's the real question we need to be asking.
And this is still an ongoing investigation. If you know anything,
Yeah. All right. I'm just trying to give some receipts before I flip out, because I am going to flip out. All right, what is this? All right, this was the meeting. Okay, so I guess the video I had didn't work, but we can watch this in case anyone missed it. So this was a meeting they had about the migrants, and they actually show the migrants are sleeping in the police station.
Chicago has not said if there are plans to open what they call a respite center in the former shuttered South Shore High School have been finalized, but people who live in that neighborhood made it very clear how they feel.
For city leaders who came looking for a conversation over opening the doors of a shuttered South Shore High School to migrants.
What's important is that we really establish that this is a humanitarian crisis, and we're here.
South Shore residents responded with resounding rejection.
While this crisis may constitute an emergency for the city of Chicago, it does not constitute an emergency for the South Shore community.
Incoming migrants have overwhelmed district police stations by the...
Look at that. So you got migrants. Look at this. This guy's babysitting all these fucking people, right? And yeah, okay, you know, and the perspective that the liberal people in my family, oh, you don't like brown people? That's their whole fucking argument, is all fucking CNN, MSNBC, Joy Reid bullshit. Oh, you're racist. You're a cheese supreme pizza. You're a white supreme. You don't like brown people. No. The point is, these people are going to be victims. The point is, Chicago has terrible schools. You're going to put these. Are they going to learn? Are they going to learn anything in our school system? Chicago, cops are being killed, and by people who are just driving around committing crime. You're looking at the next victims of all the black sets in Chicago, right? And then where are they gonna buy food? Let me pull up the next video, which is all the Walmarts shut down and left Chicago. So where are they gonna? So they're gonna be victims, and it's becoming a larger food desert. So what is the point of bringing all these people here? Oh, that's right. The people in charge, the local government, they're making money. They're getting federal dollars for every single immigrant that comes into the city. They don't care about these people. They don't give a fuck. These people are going to be the immigrants here. The illegal immigrants here are going to be the next victims of the black sets in Chicago.
By the hundreds.
It's my turn. It's my turn. Hello.
But city leaders could barely eke out a word of the details about a proposed respite center at the former South Shore High School.
When it comes to the total number of people at South Shore at any given point in time, it is fluid. We'd start with 250, 500.
How could you do that without consulting us?
I am concerned with safety in the area. The Chicago Police Department will put 24/7 officers at that location.
Those are exactly the kind of services Southside residents say they've begged for and been denied.
Every homeless immigrant that you bring in, that you scoop up one of the home.
So you get it. So the blacks aren't having it, and yeah, they're being denied. So you got a school that's been shut down that for some reason the city of Chicago never could find the funding to open to make a job center. Jobs, right? Jobs get blacks out of poverty, right? So they can't find the money to open a school. They can't find the money to open the school and make a job center. But magically, suddenly, a humanitarian crisis, the money suddenly magically appeared, and now they can put another group of people and take care of them. And the same shit is happening in New York. You have Americans, New Yorkers, who have to sleep in fucking homeless shelters while they're putting people who just got off the boat yesterday, or just off the bus in this case, being shipped up from the border, get to stay in 4-star hotels. You are being replaced in your own fucking country. And again, if this was about helping the humanitarian crisis, again, where are these people going to fucking shop? Where are they going to buy food? People are being killed. Kim Fox gave those kids who killed that 6-month-old baby 6 months criminal trespass. They stole a car, crashed into and killed a 6-month-old baby. They got criminal trespass. So the next Soros-funded DA is not going to punish the black criminals when they start murdering immigrants. I'll play that video too and say someone's got a fucking problem, saying, "Oh, big time." That's not true. So tired of this.
An abrupt closing for these 4 Walmart stores, really just about 5 days after these communities found out about Walmart's departure. Now, the residents are, of course, frustrated with the loss of the store, and already having been a food desert, they claim. They plan to voice those frustrations in a rally here later today. Walmart in of millions of dollars over the years. Now, the concern for many, like you said, Mark, comes with another pharmacy leaving, some healthy food options, as Walmart being a key option for those options. Now, residents just feel left out.
I would like this area to look no different than that I visit. There's Mariano's, there's Whole Foods, there's Target. What's so different about this neighborhood? We pay taxes as well.
People feel abandoned, right? I mean, where are the healthy eating options in the neighborhood? You want us to continue to go to, to eat fried foods. We need some healthy eating.
Why can't none of you ninjas ever speak out against your fucking community? Never your fault, right? It's never your fucking fault. When we covered this, my co-host and I covered this. Again, this is old territory we're covering, because what is the purpose of bringing people to a city? Oh, you have a humanitarian crisis. You have no supermarkets in your city, you dumb fuck. Where are the immigrants going to buy food?
Options.
Now, Jamal Cole, who you just heard from there, the founder of a local organization, plans to host that rally set here.
Oh, rally. Yeah, you're good. Good job. You're good at marching and talking, but you suck at doing. All right, and one more. Kim Fox. I'm just doing this live. Kim Fox gives criminal trespass. Can't type. Trespass for death of 6-month-old baby. And Kim Fox is stepping down, but again, so this happened a couple weeks ago. So these ninjas steal a car, probably going, I don't know, 90 miles an hour. They crash into the truck. They lift the truck off the ground, and they kill a 6-month-old kid. Bam. See that? Boom. Yeah. They killed a 6-month-old baby, and the ninjas, the kids, got 6 months. And it wasn't even a white baby. It was a Latino baby. Okay?
They have been charged with misdemeanors, and it's just really disheartening.
A deadly trend.
Look at that. So these ninjas steal a car and they murder a 6-month-old baby, and they got a misdemeanor. Are you seeing a pattern? It's like they got a box full of scorpions and no food, and the immigrants are just mice, and they're throwing more and more mice in a box of scorpions, and they shake the box. And the scorpions are the ninjas. What do you think is going to happen to these illegal immigrants? There's no food. They're going to get killed by the ninjas, and they're not even going to be punished for it. I don't know how people can't fucking see this.
And with innocent victims, carjackings are turning into car crashes.
One of the most recent incidents left a 6-month-old baby dead.
Nate Rogers is live with more. Nate.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Corey and Don. The victims in this crash, in fact, were a mother and 3 children. One of the children was an infant, less than 6 months old, we're told, who died as a result. We spoke to an aunt today who described the family's pain as unbearable. 6 months old, and now
right. So he's dead. So this kid's dead because you got Kim Fox, a fucking mammy, who I don't want a Fed post. I don't want a Fed post. But if somebody just decided to, if the family members of this dead kid did something to Kim Fox, and I was on the jury, not guilty. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Cherished memory.
But he was like 6 months going on 26. He was just like the sweetest little boy. We would always dance. He loved to dance.
Sunday around 5 p.m., the family inside the silver pickup truck, then struck by the stolen Hyundai Sonata.
And guess what? Nothing happened. And the worst the ninjas are going to get is criminal trespass.
According to
They killed a baby, 6 months.
police,
Thank God we have such weak ass people. Oh, slavery. I don't know. A millstone for those fucking kids. A millstone.
the truck then head on into this large tree at Costner in Washington.
Truly the biggest nightmare.
The car seat still visible in the wreckage, neighbors rushing to the scene to render aid. Christian Uvidia, his mother, and 2 older sisters all rushed to the hospital in serious to critical condition.
I think a lot of it too, they've kind of blocked out just from the trauma.
The 6-month-old fought to stay alive for 3 days.
He suffered from a fractured skull, which caused his brain to swell and bleed, eventually causing him to go into a coma and then later passing away.
The offending vehicle crashed into a light pole, police later arresting a 14 and 17-year-old, both charged with misdemeanors, criminal trespass to a vehicle. The family now in deep pain.
There. Okay. There. Do you get it now? So blacks are killing. So ninjas are killing kids. They're killing babies. They're killing cops. There are no stores to shop in. Did I bring the receipts? There are no stores to shop in. And you want to pump more people into the city. And nobody sees a problem. Nobody sees a problem with this. Holy shit, it's Mayo, monkey. Mayo, you want to come up here? I know you from I know you used to be on Ock Nation News, and now you're always going on Chaotic's channel. I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm fighting. Yeah, you're right. You know, I got family members. I got family members who, when I try to talk about these things, but I'm trying to say, look, I'm from Philly. They're sending immigrants into Philly, and they're sending immigrants into Pittsburgh. I have my co-host. My co-host is a black 60-year-old. Yeah. Come on up. Yeah. Here, let me. I think I dropped the link. Oh, hang on, I'll drop it again. Just learn a StreamYard, so. My co-host is a 60-something-year-old divested black woman from Chicago. She was alive in Chicago during Jim Crow and segregation. She has family that lives in the 6th district where they're going to build this school. And it's like, I'm trying to talk to my family members. Hey, family member.
Man.
Mr. Military, Mayo, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I know you from I watch a lot of Ock Nation and Chaotic, so I know you go up there sometimes.
Yeah, I'm about ready to give up on Chaotic though.
Yeah, it seems like he's a little more of a Nigerian scam than a conservative rights pushing, right?
Well, no, he wants the chaos, not the story.
He's not looking for answers.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And with a lot of the guys, you have to start off at a base to have an intelligent conversation. It just doesn't exist over there most days.
Yeah. I like the show, but it's like it seems as
I
though
love
when
the
some
subjects.
People, yeah.
But you can't have a conversation on a panel like that where everybody's yelling over each other.
Yeah, I was trying to tell that to Cal, and I realized it with the Pearly Things episode with when Pearly was interviewing Fuentes. You know, Chaotic did his thing, which is, you know, all the manosphere and the red pill, and you can't handle this ginger telling you something. But then he went on a weak tirade against Tommy Sotomayor, and it's like, this is all for the money. It's all for the money. And I was trying to talk to Cal. I was like, hey, Cal, look, man. Cal was trying to come on that first day, and Cal got all upset because he's like 20. I was like, look, man, you're not coming up today because it's about making money today. He's not trying to solve the problem. He's a Nigerian Jerry Springer. That's fine. That's his channel. Do what you want. But you're right. It's about the drama. It's not about, you know.
Well, and you got guys on there that are so stoned.
Oh, Rock.
I mean, man, you do you, but my God, man, if you can't look at that guy and tell you that marijuana has a negative influence on some people.
Yeah. And it seems like I first noticed it when Chaotic covered Scott Adams, and there's something that Scott Adams just nobody was covering, and that was when Scott Adams talked about, at least none of the conservatives, so-called conservatives, or all the cuck-servatives, or Con Inc., like Daily Wire or The Blaze, none of them covered it. That Scott Adams had like 3 minutes in his video where he said that he got a call from Jonathan Greenblatt from the ADL, and that he was told, you have to be re-educated. And the comparison is Robin DiAngelo a couple weeks later told all black people that they have to get away from white people. And she said that on a public Zoom meeting, but she never got a call from Greenblatt.
From the ADL, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and I was trying to bring this up and I was trying to send the video and I'm like, are you going to cover this one part? Are you going to talk about this one part? There's this organization, you know, kind of pushing something and you don't seem to want to talk about it.
Well, I'll tell you, if they would stop using certain words to describe them and just describe them as the elites, because that's what they are. These people aren't practicing a religion.
Oh, it's
You know what I
definitely money.
mean?
It's definitely money.
Oh yeah, but they're not practicing a religion. They're, you know. And if they just call them elites, they would get more people to jump on board. But as soon as you mention that word or those keywords, the whole thing goes south.
Can I ask you a question about a past event? Did you see the interview with Kanye and Tim Pool?
Yeah.
Did you notice that Kanye was talking about his trainer and that it turns out his trainer was like Canadian intelligence?
Oh, really?
Yeah, his trainer was like a contractor for the Canadian government. And Kanye was saying that at one point a couple of years ago, his trainer had him locked up and they tried to inject him with all this like lithium. And Kanye was like, why are you giving me all that? And then he was talking and his trainer actually posted tweets saying, I'll have you removed from your family. I'll have you put in prison. And when he brought it up to Tim's like, oh, individuals, you don't mean the group. And Kanye keeps bringing up this thing and Tim just didn't even bring it up.
Yeah.
And Kanye was like, fuck this. And he just got up and walked off the set. So, you know, so it seems like both sides have their marching orders. And if you would extend me the courtesy, did you, I don't know, I don't watch Tim Pool a lot, but he currently, like a couple days ago, he had a big, like, I guess a debate against, the guy.
Oh, that leftist moron. Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, that guy's a idiot.
But you see, he had someone spoon feeds him. And as soon as Tim Pool talked about sterilization, and as soon as he brought that up, you saw that guy, he sat up. He was at attention. His eyes were shifting everywhere. Oh, why are you talking about that? Wow, that's weird. Why are you talking about that? Why are we talking about someone's genitals? That's so strange. And it was like, did you see that? What did you think of that? I'm sorry, I'm doing all the talking. Please, you're my.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. It goes to show how many robots are out there. These aren't real people. They're NPCs with a script.
Absolutely.
Did you see you know that young kid in the liberal space right now?
Dylan
he
Burns?
does all the rants with his buddy on like TikTok. He just got outed as being paid by
the Democrats.
By the DNC, yeah.
Yeah, he's a shill.
Yeah. Did you see the where his buddy just like he tore the curtain off and gave him some of the most. Oh my God! If I can find this thing.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, I'll cover whatever.
Yeah, he tore the curtain off that whole scam on a podcast, and the guy's like, "Oh, that's a clippable moment," and he's like begging him, "No, please don't clip that. Don't clip that."
Really? So are you saying that his friend had principles?
Yeah, because his friend straight out came out and said that the Democrats don't do anything right.
Wow.
And these guys are being paid by the DNC. It was hilarious.
look, man, if you put that in the chat, I'll cover that.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it because I think it might have been liberal hive mind that did it.
Okay, yeah, okay, I know Hive Mind. Okay,
Yeah, I think he might have been the one. Just finding it.
that's wow. I mean, no, like, look, man, no offense. Like, I'm even my people, you know, white people. I'm just so disappointed. Like, even like, okay, can I share something? I have a church that I go to here. I'm from Philly. I know you are too.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, I lived in Philly for about 16 years. I lived on the edge of Philly in Upper Darby, and then I moved into Philly when I got out of high school. I went to Upper Darby because my parents didn't want me to go to school in Philly, so they sent me to a school
I don't
outside
blame
of Philly. Yeah, and that was back in like 2000. You know.
Yeah.
And I go to a church. I now live in I moved way into Central PA, right? And we got a church we go to, and my pastor was telling me he wants to send 10 and 11-year-old boys to Philly to like preach and shit. Like they were going to go to Kensington and they were going to go to North Philly by Temple, like Cecil B. Moore. I was like, I literally pulled him aside. I said, "What the fuck are you doing? What do you mean you're sending kids to Philly?" And he says all the dumb shit. Oh, it's the daytime. Oh, nothing will happen. Oh, they'll be with adults. And
It don't matter.
I got in his face. I said, "Look, man, I understand that you're the pastor and like I'm supposed to listen to you, but for once in your life, can you listen to someone else?" I said, you better have guns because a book and waving your hands isn't good enough."
No, and that collar ain't going to help you either.
Right. I literally pulled out my phone and I showed him those 4 kids that got out of the car and they fired 70 rounds down the street. And the one kid had like an AK, and it was like, you know, they're wearing Pooh Shiesty masks and they just open rounds.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you know, and my pastor has a problem with me carrying in church. Oh, why do you think you need that? I'm like, did you just see what happened in Tennessee? Are you kidding me?
It's a lot safer. We'll all be a lot safer, and you'll be alive.
Yeah,
sorry,
man.
You're good.
You're good, man. You're good. It's what that kid's name is Harry.
Here, hang on. Let me
he's a TikTok kid.
Let me pull up Google and I'll you can
I'm just looking for his. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Hang on. I'll cover that right now. Hell.
Amnesia lady story down there at Elk Grove.
So, what were you saying? What's his name?
Harry Nielsen. Is that it? Harry Sisson.
C or S?
Sisson.
Is this it here?
Let me see here. Yep.
Like I've actually done it before. I've criticized like Democrats, like specifically Hakeem Jeffries, and it all just went south. Like I started losing followers. Like it's bad, right? And I really want to be that person that like reaches the other side because Democrats, they're horrible at their jobs, right? They do a lot of shitty things. Although I'll vote for them all the time. But it's also hard in the space to criticize.
That's a good. Can we clip that quote? They're horrible
please
at their
don't.
jobs.
Please don't clip that.
Retarded.
And you look at his buddy sitting next to him, and he's just watching the dollars fly away.
That's ridiculous. So I know that it's happening. I know they're terrible, but I'll keep voting for them. Did you here? Let me. Since you're here, let me ask your opinion. So have you seen the school that they're going to turn into a migrant center in Chicago?
I saw there was a hotel. There was a video of a guy in front of a hotel that they closed down to the public and just are stuffing it with migrants. I mean, hey, I say put them up in those Walmarts that are closing.
Here, I think this is. I think this is it. Do you want to see this?
Yeah, put it up.
All right, sure.
Cheryl, tonight, the city of Chicago has not said if there are plans to open what they call a respite center in the former shuttered South Shore High School have been finalized. But people who live in that neighborhood made it very clear how they feel.
For city leaders who came looking for a Congress opening the doors of a shuttered South Shore High School to migrants.
What's important is that we really establish that this is a humanitarian crisis.
So they're doing the Tony Blair. This is exactly what happened in the United Kingdom. He said, we don't have a choice. We have to help them. And this is happening.
Yep.
And
it doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you say. Doesn't matter how you feel. We're doing it.
Yeah. I'm trying to calm down because I just had this big fight with family. And it's like, I'm trying to tell them. Yeah, go ahead, please.
The cities are gone. We need to stop trying to save them. And what we need to do is try and get good people out of them. Because the cities are done. They no longer have the demographic voters to turn it around.
And by that, do you mean like whites or Cubans?
Yes.
That's what Obama did, right? Didn't Obama do like a shoot ashore?
Well, it's yeah, I think I can't remember because it was always
right back, right?
Well, Cubans were always a feet dry policy. If they made it to shore, they got to stay.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure what the I know he tried to change that. Obama did.
Because they vote Republican, because they've been under actual communism under Castro.
Yeah. Because like the Puerto Ricans in New York, they're the exact opposite. I mean, they come from a socialist country.
They also acted as a
which is why they leave. Which is why they leave their socialist country.
And they also flexed on DA Alvin Bragg when Jose Alba was going to be charged with second-degree murder. The Latino community came out in force.
Yeah.
And once they told him, they said, "Look, man, however much money he needs, we're going to give it to him." Suddenly the charges are dropped.
Well, I don't think. I think what he looked at when he finally looked at the evidence, they saw something that they could not get a winning conviction on the case.
Yeah.
And I think that made more of a difference than because George Soros is behind him.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
and every Hispanic in New York City can't outspend him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think what he saw is a case that he was going to lose.
He just wanted an easy win.
Yeah, because there was no Bronx jury that was going to convict that guy.
Was his store in Bronx or Harlem? I don't remember.
Either or.
Yeah. There's enough. Yeah,
Even a Manhattan jury wouldn't convict that guy because everybody in Manhattan, no matter how much money you has interaction with those guys that own the bodegas every day.
Right. And the president of the Bodega Association was a Latino guy, and he came out and gave his full support.
Yeah.
I mean, this seems similar to what happened to Cindy Bass in Philadelphia in 2017 when she was trying to remove the bulletproof glass. The Asian community, there's a huge Asian union, like a beverage and food association.
Yeah, but she did that. That happened.
Yeah.
And the last big one in Philly was the not stopping cars.
Yeah, they were driving while black. Yeah,
You can't stop a car unless it's 6 months overdue on registration.
or
You
see them
can't
commit
stop a
felony.
car because something's hanging off the rearview mirror or because they have a light out.
Yeah.
So they just basically don't stop cars anymore.
And it was due to some sort of overrepresentation of black arrests, right?
Well, it was secondary arrests after traffic stops.
So
Basically
weed,
catching guys riding dirty. Weed,
guns,
weapons. Yeah.
Yeah. So blacks being blacks, in other words.
It's the pro riding dirty law.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. I mean, I just want all the good people, because these cities are going to fall. I mean, right now, New York's biggest hit coming up is retail real estate. Or not retail real estate, office space real estate. Because people aren't going back to work. They're all working from home.
Yeah.
So when that hits, people don't realize, like everybody bitches about the top 1%. Well, the top 1% pays about 97% of our taxes in the country.
Yeah.
And when they leave a city like New York can't operate. They can't pay their bills.
But you think that's planned?
No, I think it's just part of the. I think it's just it's nature. It's organic. When you drive your tax base away, because if it's actually working opposite of the UN's Agenda 21 plans and all that, because they want to force people out of the country into the cities.
Right? They want it to be like a Judge Dredd future with these mega cities living on top of one another.
Yeah.
But if that happens, I think that's going to balkanize the shit out of everybody. I think there's sort of a racial awakening happening in London where the whites are finally like, oh, we're on our own.
But it's too late. It's too late for London. Europe's gone. In one generation, they're going to be Islamic countries.
Yeah.
Because they're just being outbred. I mean, I hate to say it, but Europe's gone. And they did it to themselves.
What do you think is going to happen here?
The cities are going to go the same route.
Do you think it's going to go do you think, my theory was it's going to be forest and cold places where there might be like the holdouts, because certain immigrants don't like the cold.
Oh, yeah. 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 New England,
Maine
is holding pretty. Oh, yeah. Maine. That's where I'm moving to. I've got property there already. That's where I was born and raised in Philly. But after my mom died, we moved up to Maine.
Don't you live in like some place with all the places where they make planes and everything?
Yeah, I live in Kansas right now.
Okay.
We've got Boeing, Learjet, or what used to be Learjet, Bombardier now.
Cessna too?
Yeah, Cessna, Raytheon.
Right. Yeah.
Even Airbus builds wings here.
So I think it's funny you had a similar strategy. I was talking to my wife, we got a second kid coming, and we're having a big. Do you still follow like any local Pennsylvania politics or anything?
A little bit. I keep an eye on the Philly news. Thank God my last relatives that lived in Philly finally moved out, so I never have to go back there again. But I got friends who live between Allentown and Philly.
Allentown's starting to get it too.
Yep.
And again, it's the ninjas, man. It's just like Ock talks about, and
I'm going to preface this here, all right?
No.
Not all blacks are ninjas. Not all ninjas are black in my worldview.
No, for sure.
You know, but the urban liberal, urbanite, the urban are just horrible.
Yeah, but Ock talks about this. Like the
no, there is, but the problem is yeah, it might be the really bad ones might be 4 or 5%, but 90% line up and back up to support them.
Right. He that's something that's brought up on Chaotic's channel, and Ock talks about that, which is like Prince George's County. They literally just had that assassination attempt on the bus last Monday.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, and in Prince George's County last year, they had to initiate a curfew because there were so many carjackings and murders happening and robberies happening in the suburb. And the suburb is like right outside of DC. It's 85% black. The low end of their income is 150, 200,000.
Yeah, that's the richest black county in America. And unfortunately, it has a higher crime than the poorest white county in America.
Yeah, I live out in rural PA by Appalachia. So, I mean, there are no, I'm going to be honest. I live where I live right now. I live in like a 90% Indian suburb. There is no crime. We had, if I can share, I had an altercation where I just seeing my piece saved my life. But so there are two black families that live in my suburb. There's one from Brooklyn and one from Baltimore. And we have a larger dog that I walk, and I usually open carry when I walk. I wouldn't open carry in Philly or anywhere I suspected there was trouble. You know, I'd always conceal. But I usually open carry where I walk because my dog's usually on my left hand and I pull with my right. And I don't know if my dog, you know what I'm saying? Like my dog ran in one direction. How would I pull my shirt up with one hand? Yeah. So I've talked to both of the black fathers because I guess they're not used to seeing a white guy with a piece and a large dog. They mostly see another community, but they both told me the same story. They left where they're from because of violence.
Yeah.
And one day I was dragging my kid around in a wagon, and at the time I had my I had a 9 on me. I usually carry like a snub, but a bunch of this Baltimore's dad, he kept letting his son's friends visit. And eventually one day they just started walking down the middle of the street, like 10 of them. They started chasing these Indian kids on their bikes, you know, give me that bike, give me that bike. And there was a Middle Eastern mom, and she grabs her kids and she runs away. And I'm still too far from my home, and I'm dragging my kid. So I walked up a driveway. I turned around and I just kneeled in a lunging position, standing in front of the wagon. And they started to walk up the driveway towards me. And that was just telling me that they were coming.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look, I was afraid. I thought my kid was going to be beaten or I was going to be killed. But the only thing I was thinking is, you know, I don't even want a Fed post on a recorded conversation. The only thing I'm thinking is, I'm good enough. I practice enough that I can get 1 or 2 off before you rush me, because there was 10 of them. But I know, having my hands on my hips and facing them and shitting my pants, I shit myself, Mayo. Like I literally was going to shit myself. I'm from Philly, but I've never had the hardware, because when I lived in Philly, I was broke. I never had the money to buy, you know what I mean? And now that my dollar stretches further out here, I have a better job. I make more money. There's less taxes. But them seeing that I was, whatever I was going to do, God thank it was enough. One of them pointed at it. They look at it and they turned around and walked away. Like,
these kids are
Thank you, Lord.
coyotes.
Thank you, Lord. Thank
Yeah.
you, Lord. Thank
But
you,
these
9
kids-
millimeter.
Yeah. These kids are coyotes. They're not wolves. They're cowards.
Mm.
They will only push in numbers.
Like the cop.
But God forbid you go down. If you hit the ground,
Yeah, you're done.
I mean, people not even involved that are around are going to take shots at you.
Yeah, we covered the assistant print. I have a co-host from Chicago. She's a divested woman, a black divested woman from the who's 60 in her 60s.
Yeah,
and she lived growing up in Jim Crow Chicago. So she's my co-host, and we're starting a series where we're covering the 92 riots. I found a bunch of footage from the 92 riots, and we're just watching it. And we were gonna do comparisons between like the 77 blackout, the 92 in New York, the 92 race riots, and the 2020 riots, and they all say the same shit.
Yeah,
they say the same stuff. They have insurance. We gonna get ours. The police aren't arresting anybody, so it's okay. And it's like nothing has changed.
Well, and it goes back to the culture. And you heard it. Did you watch Chaotic yesterday?
Yeah, I watch while I'm at work. I work second shift, so I can't ever really call in, you know?
Yeah.
It was about the cop, right? Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Yeah. You know that guy
this might be risky.
This might be risky. He is the perfect example of the excuser in the community.
He also doesn't like us.
Yeah. But he's always blamed. Oh, well, they're just young.
Yeah.
You know, oh, they're disadvantaged. Man, when they call that the underserved community, I laugh.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Because if you put those same services that are available in the mountains of West Virginia, you wouldn't have the problems you got there.
Yeah. There's a rural town right next to the burb we live in, and there's nothing there except like 2 churches. But Philadelphia has 170 rec centers.
Yep. And all they are is collections of crime.
Yeah.
If you look on the crime maps, dots surround every one of those rec centers.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I remember Philly when the old man still ran it.
Rizzo?
The old mob guy. No. Well, before Rizzo.
I don't know.
He was he got killed in like the 80s by one of his rivals who wanted to get into drugs.
Oh, do you mean Gambino? Do you mean Tesla and do you mean I'm doxing myself here. I had an association with an older member who was in the opposite gang. He knew the Gambinos, and this guy was creepy, man. Like, he was an older guy. Tesla, Wes. What was the last name? It was the other.
Bruno.
He would just tell me stories, and he was
Angelo Bruno. Yeah.
Okay. He was like a cousin. He was like an uncle of someone high up in the other family. And he had guys pick him up, drop him off, do his laundry. I mean, walk him to his car, walk him to
yeah.
It was, and he was, I'm not trying to, I like anonymity for a reason, but it's like, you're right.
But Angelo Bruno controlled crime in Philadelphia. If you paid him security money and your store got robbed, he would reimburse you and he would find the person who robbed you.
Really?
His protection contracts were true.
Similar
no, please go ahead.
Similar to maybe like the Yakuza in Japan or the I forget what the South Korean gangs are called. They have a different
Yeah.
name, but they're similar to the Yakuza.
Yeah, he was very old school because he saw what happened in New York when they got into drugs, and he was destined to keep that out of Philly and South Jersey. And if you remember at the time, that's when they were putting casinos in Atlantic City. And there was a big fight between New York and New Jersey and Philly and North Jersey over it, who was going to control Atlantic City.
Who controls Atlantic City now?
Yeah. Oh, the local gang. I mean, if you've never seen a sadder town.
I have family in Jersey.
Yeah.
I try to tell them to leave because Jersey is going the way of, they're trying to go the way of like Canada or Chicago with their gun laws. And
we had friends in Jersey and we'd go spend the weekend with them, right?
Yeah.
And, spend weeks during the summer, just to get out of Philly. We would walk around South Jersey with pellet guns and shoot rabbits. And all the old ladies in the neighborhood would pay us to shoot rabbits because they were eating their gardens. If I was to step out of a house, this is in Buna, New Jersey, a town called Buna, New Jersey. It's literally halfway between Philly and Atlantic City.
Okay. I'm familiar with Hamilton or Cardiff because that's where I have family.
Yeah. Well, this is right outside of Vineland. But
okay. Like near Sicklerville?
No, that doesn't sound from Vineland, Millville, Buna, Landisville.
Okay.
Hamilton. Okay. But yeah, if I was to walk around down there with a BB gun nowadays, I'd get a SWAT team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, man, Jersey was lost a long time ago. But these cities, there's no saving them at this point. Did you see in Denver, that city councilwoman wants to tax white businesses and give it to black residents?
Yeah, equity.
Who's gonna stay in your city when you start passing shit like that?
Oh man. Okay. I got a Philly thing. So again, I gotta be careful. All right. I don't know if you're following local Philly politics, but so there's a huge fight right now with Central Bucks High School and the ACLU. And Central Bucks High School has kind of like what DeSantis did in Florida, where he just outstretched his hand and he put 6 people on the college board. And one of them is, I think, Christopher Rufo, right?
Yeah.
Central Bucks High School has these 4 hardcore Christians, which is fine with me, on the school board. And the ACLU is trying to weasel all this, CRT and gender theory, and parents don't have to, that the school can hide the gender and all that shit.
Yeah.
And the school's like, no, get the fuck out of our county. And they've spent, from what I've seen, over $1 million retaining these 2 law firms trying to fight the ACLU. And I was fighting with my own family and my wife's family. I'm like, look, Pennsylvania is like, it's hanging by a thread. And, we're trying to find like a Christian or a Catholic school for our kids. But even that is not a guarantee, because at a local high school, they just found that the first graders are being taught gender theory. So there's a woman who's running for the school board now. And I'm even considering calling the Moms of Liberty myself and be like, look, we need help,
Well, and I can tell you this because my aunt's actually a nun out, and her convent is right outside. Her main convent is right outside of Philly. That's why they took the nuns as teachers out of the Catholic schools, was so they could push this, because the nuns were complaining.
Really?
Yep.
have you? I mean, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. The nuns are actually hardcore, and they would go, "This violates our oath against the This violates the oath." I mean,
Yeah.
like the school we're considering actually follows the like the 1996 Protestant Reformation, where they basically said that like Christianity has become too streamlined, and they want to go more old school. You know what I mean? So,
Well, when I was a kid, right? You know, I saw all these. Remember, like the record labeling fight and all that.
well, like Gamble and Huff.
No, the explicit lyrics fight.
Oh, in the
And you
90s.
and you had Tipper Gore, you know,
You're
Al
older
Gore's
than me.
wife.
You're
Yeah,
older
yeah,
than me, Mayo.
I'm 54 or
Okay,
53. So
I'm not even 40 yet. So
yeah, okay. Well, there you always see in the 80s the hardcore right religious was fighting everything, right? And I was watching a movie. I came across the movie like 2 days ago on and it's called Little Darlings.
Little Darlings. I'm gonna Google that.
It-
I'm listening.
It came out in 1980, and it's got Tatum O'Neal and Christy McNichol in it. And one's a rich girl, one's a poor girl, and they're at the summer camp, and they're gonna lose their virginity.
Oh shoot.
Watching this movie made in 1980s made me feel uncomfortable
I'm listening. Go for it.
because they were showing, because now, like in TV, if it's an underage girl, they have women play it who are actually of age to just look young.
Right.
These girls were in puberty. It was like watching that. Remember Cuties? The whole thing with Cuties, the Cuties movie.
Yes.
It was like watching Cuties. And I never saw it before. When I watched this movie 20 years ago, it was no big deal. 30 years ago, it was no big deal. But looking at it now, man, that shit is just evil. Because you're sexualizing like 12 to 14-year-olds. And one thing a lot of people don't remember either, Brooke Shields was in a French
Playboy
in 1983, nude, completely nude.
And she was also in a movie in a southern
a
southern whorehouse.
Yeah. What the hell's Pretty something?
Hang on, Playboy. I'm gonna look that up as you're talking, just to keep. If any, I mean, no one watches my show, but Playboy.
Pretty Little, no, not Pretty Little Liars.
And it was a yeah. Here we go. Here it is.
Pretty Baby.
Pretty
the
Baby.
whole preference of the movie was they were selling her virginity at 11.
Yeah, here it is.
Now I understand why the religious right was going nuts in the 80s.
All right. Well, can I?
Kind of makes sense.
All right. Can I dip into my tinfoil hat here?
Yeah.
A little
bit. Be careful of those pictures though from that, because you might wind up showing some God's honest CP. Doing a search for that movie.
All right. Here's what we'll do. We'll go Google. That's safer. So there's a theory I was told. Do you remember this movie?
Yep.
So John Grisham, right? So
Yeah.
This movie's about yeehaw, the good old country boys, and they grape Samuel Jackson's daughter, and she was just doing nothing, and she was going to school, and then he kills them, and then that's righteous, and it's righteous to kill them, and so I was listening to the story about the actual story of the court case that this is based on. So this is based off of a court case in like 1988 or 1989 Mississippi, and it's about a ninja who tried to grape and kill two white sisters. One was hiding in the closet, and when he found her, he smashed a walnut shotgun stock over her head, splitting open her skull. Right?
Jesus.
And John Grisham had to actually, he likes to put himself into the story, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Why did he have to change the race?
To push a narrative.
Yeah. And then
to change the story, to erase the original story.
Right. And someone was taught, and I was watching people who do propaganda in movies. I don't know if you watch any Black Pill, but he didn't do this movie, but there's another guy I watch who's a little too spicy for YouTube, and they were talking about this movie, and somebody asked their theory of why this movie was pushed to the forefront, and they said there were three things that happened in the 90s that were causing white people to suddenly acclaim like white identity, which was you had the O.J. Simpson trial, you had the 1992 race riots over Rodney King and Letitia Harlins. You also had the interview with the jurors who said it was revenge for Rodney King. And then you had Charles Murray. Charles Murray wrote his book on IQ.
Yeah.
And as soon as his book on IQ came out, this movie was like the all-star studded cast. And if you watch, when I watch it now, it's so obvious. Like you're saying, it's like all the pretty white people, they're all liberals. They're all pretty, they're attractive, they're all friends. And all the people who identify with their group, they're all ugly, they're all dirty, they all do blue collar work, they wear like ripped clothes. You have Kiefer Sutherland, who's one of the guys, and all the New Yorkers,
looks like a meth head.
Yeah. And the New Yorkers who represent, they're the district attorney. They had Kevin Spacey as the capitalist lawyer, and all the good guys. Okay, so tell me the last time. So when Samuel Jackson kills the two rapists and he blows off the leg of the one security guard, the black sheriff, who's seen as the protector and the guardian in the movie, there's even scenes where when he opens a door, there's a scene where he looks like Jesus coming into this bar, like the light is shining behind him. Like it's edited perfectly. It's edited perfectly. But tell me the last time the sheriff takes Samuel Jackson out of the prison cell and he brings him to the hospital with no other guards, no handcuffs, no restraints. And he brings Samuel Jackson in to apologize to the white cop whose leg he blew off.
Yeah.
And well, anyway, that's my tangent.
Yeah. No, it's no, dude, Hollywood has been pushing this up because you'll look about every 6 to 8 months, a new white people are bad movie comes out.
Yeah.
Every 6 to 8 months.
Did you remember what was that movie called about this one? Remember this one? Oh,
can't see my screen right now. What is it?
The Northman.
No.
Remember last year there was this movie that came out essentially about like Vikings, like just I don't know if they were Germanic or I don't know what tribe they were. I don't know, but like thousands of years ago they just made a movie called The Northman, and it came out in 2022, and it was essentially just about light-skinned Vikings. Again, I don't know if they were Celtic or Germanic. I don't know what tribe or what time period, but they had boats and they have straw on top of their cottages. And they're sailing from town to town, and they're still wearing like loin cloths, and they're wearing the heads of animals like Hercules when he killed the lion.
Yeah.
And it was basically just white people killing white people, and the stories. And there was such an outrage from people on the left and from the ADL about just a story of like just just our people and their history. The BBC put out a whole thing trying to like speak out against it and say this is a horrible movie. Where's the diversity? And it's like, it's just a story. It's just a movie. They're just talking. Go ahead, please.
Let's do diversity. Okay.
I'm sorry, you're far away.
Hold on a second.
No, of course.
Is that better?
Yes, a lot better, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do diversity. 13% of the country. How come 50% of the characters on TV?
Yeah. Yeah.
The only time you see a white guy on TV, a white father, he's dumb as a box of rocks. In all these commercials, he's just an idiot.
Yeah. That's
and
right.
that's what we see all the time.
Here it is, Top Boy. Cal said something interesting the other day, and I was watching this. Have you seen like what is it? Top Boy? Top Boy.
No.
It's this. Yeah, I'm not saying there's nothing. Netflix is a waste of time. So this is a series that came out about these two gangs in London or UK. I don't remember which. And they're Jamaican immigrants.
Yeah.
Right? It's an Afro-Caribbean gang. The young guys versus the old guys. And the old guys are from Jamaica. And it's just a series about these two gangs killing each other. Acid attacks, knife attacks, colostomy bags. You know, the attack they do where they stab you in the back.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm watching this. And this series is acclaimed. And it's like, hey, let's watch these invaders destroy this island. Not destroy their own island in Jamaica. No. Let's come to our island. And it's like, I don't get it. I just, for all the stereotypes.
But a movie about Vikings.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. This series is acclaimed, and this guy's going to be the next Denzel. Who's the guy? Who's the black guy? He's the British actor. He started in that police series, and he was in the Tower with Matthew McConaughey. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's going to be that new guy, the new actor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This kid, where is he? Yeah, right here. He's the leader of the gang. In the very first episode, this guy murders 3 drug dealers. And they do the whole thing of like the noble savage. Like he lives in a home. He's taking care of a middle-aged brother who's in high school and a younger kid who's like in elementary school, and their parents are dead. And they show this like, he loves them. He cares about them. He won't let them do anything. But in the very first episode, he murders 3 like white Turkish drug dealers, sets their home on fire. And when they run out, he kills them. And that's the very first episode. But as you said, this movie of the Northmen, which is just a story, it's a fantasy of one Viking clan. And the one guy is a leader, and the family he has, and the relationship he has with his children. It's seen as this evil. Where are the blacks? And I'm like, can we have one fucking story?
No, you can't. Straight up, you can't. And my thing with Hollywood, right?
Yeah, please.
All this woke shit is breaking movies. It's breaking Hollywood. You know what I mean?
but they have money.
They're putting billions into movies, and they're not making any money.
Yeah.
They're not even paying for themselves. So who's funding it? Who's funding the losses that they continue to pile, pushing this narrative? There's got to be money behind it.
Right. I mean, I'll just be straight up. When you said you're going to move to a cold place, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll reach you there?
It's already in two of the cities, in the 2 or 3 of the cities in the state, but it's still very small comparably to other ones.
Actually, that's you know what? Let me did you hear it? Did you okay? Like okay, so I was having this conversation too. So there's in Philadelphia, there's a mayoral race. You know, the mayoral race, pardon me, is occurring. And you know, it's like 15 Democrats, but there's one here. Let me pull him up. There's one. His name is David O. And he's the first Chinese. I think he's the first Chinese councilman, but he's also Republican. And you know, he's the conservative wet dream. You know, his family moved here. He's like 2nd or 3rd generation. He's a lawyer. He served in the military.
Ours are CCPs.
I think. Well, no offense. Nowadays,
yeah.
He says ours. You know, and he represents Chinatown, and he wants, like he says, he wants Chinese representation, but he is a Republican through and through. He supports guns. He supports people owning guns for now. I don't know, but do you know Reese from Philly? Do you still go on any of Vox channels? Any?
Yeah, I run into him every once in a while.
Okay. Yeah. So Reese said something a couple of weeks ago, and I was looking into it. He was saying that like Asian kids are getting beat up. They can't go to the bathroom unless it's in groups. They can't sit down on the buses unless they're in like a Spartan formation. And I've been trying to find some stuff, and I don't know if I can pull it up at this moment, but David O. So Chinatown is pushing the members of Chinatown. They want to build their own charter school just for their kids.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like, this has now become my litmus test for family members. And I'm like, do the kids in Chinatown deserve their own school? They're being, you know, Philadelphia is now asking for like another $1.4 billion for their school budget, which is going to come where I'm from. Like another 30% of the taxes comes in the area I live, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the ultimate sunk cost fallacy. The more they just keep pouring money in, it'll never fix it. But David O says he's now on the Chinatown train, which he thinks the Chinese kids should have their own school. And I agree with him. Philadelphia is trying to do the same thing like Virginia or California, or like de Blasio was doing, where they're just trying to get rid of the honors courses.
Yep.
And it's like, why should these kids who don't do anything besides, you know, what their parents tell them, their tiger moms and dads do to them?
Yeah.
Why can't they be safe? What? And I'm surprised. I don't know if it was like boomer programming from all the TV that my parents and grandparents grew up with, but they honestly believe that it's racist for Chinese kids to have their own school. Oh no, you can't have that. Everybody has to live together. Everybody has to be the same. They don't agree with removing the honors courses. They think that's wrong, but they think that the Asian kids should have to go to school with the black ninjas. And it's like, and I'm asking them, go ahead.
The problem is, all right.
Yeah, please.
When I grew up in Philly, right?
Yeah.
We had kids from everywhere in my school. If they were born there, they sounded like every other kid in the school.
Oh, sure.
The Indian kid, his father sounds straight out of The Simpsons. But he sounds straight out of South Philly.
Yeah, he's assimilated. He's picked up the.
Because they've assimilated.
Use guys.
Yep. Nobody. Use guys.
Pass Young. Go pass Young.
Nobody has to assimilate anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, all this diversity is strength. No. Assimilation is strength. Diversity is weakness.
But they know that, don't they? Do you think? I think this is all a sham. To me, the whole push for diversity was just so they could start stocking the humanitarian crisis or whatever you want to call it. So no one could say anything. And they use it as a shield.
But they sold it to people who grew up in diverse parts of the city, but they were assimilated.
Yeah.
Which is the difference. Yeah, now they're not assimilating. Like here in Kansas.
Yeah, please.
After Vietnam, the city I'm in was hurting for people. People, kids were moving out of the city in droves and never coming back.
What was happening?
They settled a bunch of Vietnamese and Thai here.
Okay.
After the Vietnam War. I see it every day. You see old grandparents and great-grandparents in stores with their kids or their grandkids translating for them.
Yeah.
Because they moved so much of those people into one part of the city, it turned into a little Vietnam. And they didn't have to assimilate. Everything they needed, they could find somebody in their city,
right,
to do it for them or sell it to them.
Right, just like Koreatown when in LA when they I saw a chart in LA where in 1970 after the Hart-Celler Act, less than 100 Korean-owned stores, and then in 1990 7,000 Korean-owned stores. I don't know where to take this conversation because it's so rare to talk. Like I have a co-host and and my wife is pregnant, so she doesn't want to hear this shit right now. So she don't want to hear it. I'm like, honey, like she's on my side and she's 50-50. She's 50 woman, but she's also in STEM.
Yeah.
So her whole life she's been in the STEM. So she's better at seeing. She can see the logic in something.
Yeah, she can see patterns, and
she's still a white woman, but because of the STEM, I believe, this is my theory, she's so used to having find a logic or a pattern that she can separate it at times.
And dude, I got nothing against a black person. Nothing against. You want to get on, you want to jump on the train and ride to success? I got no problem. I'll give you a hand up.
Yeah.
But the culture in these cities
that's dying
is the problem, They young. Oh, he's a good kid. Good kid in the community means something a lot different than a good kid in America.
Yeah, correct. Hang on, I'm pulling up another story too.
Yep.
English honors class. Let me. New York Post. Love the New York Post.
I get a lot of my best stories off of Daily Mail because they tell stories, American stories that American news won't cover.
Yeah, and they have like 7 sources. Yeah. Actually, here, let me pull up Daily Mail then. Give me 1 sec.
Yep. Equity. Notice that word now. equality isn't anywhere. Now it's all equity.
Which just means they take our shit.
Yeah, that's all it is, you know, a transfer of wealth based on nothing.
I don't see a Daily Mail, but I do have I have a New York Post. So I agree with you on everything you're saying. I just think this also contributes to it, where the equity. This is an example of the equity, and this is happening. They're trying to do this in Philly. You know, like David O is talking about building the school, and the city council has responded by saying, I think it's an act of vengeance, or like a retribution. Now they're saying they're just going to build a 76er stadium in Chinatown.
Could you imagine?
They're now saying they want to build.
Yeah. Could
Have
you
you seen that?
imagine? Yeah. Could you imagine though the grades the kids in that school would get?
Oh, yeah, it'd be the next
Compared
Einstein.
to every other, even private schools in Philly.
Latin. There's a charter school called Latin Boys, or like they Latin or read Latin or something. They do really good work. There's one or two charter schools that actually do really well, but they are fighting to keep their contract with the city, because the city is trying to just like oh man, there's a small hat woman in New York City who used to be on the school board with de Blasio, and she wanted to run the board, and he ran her out, so she started her own charter company. I don't remember her name, but it's similar now to what's happening in Philly. They want to remove these schools, and they just want this equity, one size approach fits all. And like here at this high school, they actually had an honors English class that was voluntary, and only whites and Asians showed up for it. And because there wasn't enough representation from Black and Latinos, they canceled it. Or like
What's the
happening in Virginia.
demographics of the town? What's the demographics of the town?
Culver City. Hang on.
Culver City?
Look that up. Just bear with me. I'm not the fastest with my setup here.
Oh.
Yeah, Culver City.
Okay. White alone, 56%. African American, 8%. Asian, 18%. Two or more, 12%. Hispanic or Latino, 18%.
Man, it was voluntary. Like nobody. It's ridiculous.
Well, and if it's voluntary, you also don't have to meet a criteria to take it.
Yeah, there's no consent decree that forces you to get kids in or anything like that.
Well, you don't have to meet a benchmark. Like you have to have an A in English comp, or you've had to take these classes before.
Yeah.
If you want to take it, you can take it. There's no academic holds on the class. And you can't force kids to take something they're not interested in. But because the black kids weren't interested in it, now they're going to end it for everybody because of the racisms. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, do you see this one? Here's your Daily Mail. This was in Virginia. I am going to give credit to Youngkin. He actually started like his own school investigation force, squad, whatever. I don't know the proper name, but they actually got this. They got this Muslim lady, this like Indian Muslim lady who hates America. She's all about the equity, and because of the investigations, she stepped down.
Yep.
So he was able to get. I call them. There's a channel I watch called where they call them AIDS commies. He was able to get one of the AIDS commies out. But there's this white woman. There's this white woman. She's the principal of this school, and she's been withholding these merit awards. Thomas Jefferson High School for science and technology.
Oh yeah, they came out.
she-
17 different schools did this. Same thing.
There she is. Yeah, this bitch.
Yep.
Bonita Tibus.
Yeah.
And it's like, and this is what pisses me off about my people. You know, like, how can you say you want to help people and you want to help? How can you be a liberal and you're trying to liberate people, but then you try to make everyone the same? There's no one to liberate, right?
The liberals are gone. The Democrats that existed when I was a kid, they're gone. They're extinct. The party's no more. Because the big fight, especially in the 70s, is right. If you look at the Republican Party, I think it was the 64 presidential race. If you look at the Republican and the Democrat Party platforms, they're nearly identical. They all want to move the country forward. They just disagree on how to do it. Well, the Democrat Party no longer wants to make America better. They want to tear it down.
Yeah. Mark.
There's
Mark
nothing
Dice has
liberal
a video
about them
on-
anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Mark Dice talks about this neoconservative, where the this is essentially what the GOP is. Someone who was someone with the viewpoints of a Democrat from like 10, 20 years ago, and the big thing he talked about was let me be careful here. Do you know who Dave Rubin is for the Blaze?
Yeah.
So this was a big thing last year where he's a part of the Alphabet crew and he's a part of the Small Hats, and he and his husband they paid two women $50,000 for a baby.
Yeah.
And the Daily Wire and what's his name who runs the Blaze?
Glenn Beck.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. They had an interview. They had an interview with Dave Rubin, and they couldn't understand the outrage against this. They're like, "Oh, what's the issue? What's the problem?" And it's like you are pushing the neoliberal agenda. You're just doing it slower. You know,
I'm sorry, but I thought slavery and human trafficking were against the law here.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is the buying and selling of babies
correct?
Trafficking in humans.
Correct. Yes. I was having this conversation with my father the boomer. Why? What is your problem big time against them having kids? And I said, okay, I have a kid. How much should I sell them for? Oh, that's completely different. Is it?
No.
There's not. Yeah.
Mother Nature has safeguards built in, right? Now we know,
I believe so.
We know homosexuality exists in nature, right?
Yeah, of course, it exists in animals. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'll use homosexuals first, okay?
Oh, go ahead, please.
So you have, if this is down to like DNA and genes, well, it's a self-repairing problem. and those genes won't be passed on because there's no concept of breeding.
There we go.
Homosexual to homosexual. There's no chance of pregnancy. So that's Mother Nature's way. It's just like with the 0.003% of people that are supposedly intersex, hermaphrodites, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The one thing you'll find in every instance is they are sterile.
Right.
And that's because Mother Nature does not like mutations. Mother Nature does everything it can to get rid of mutations.
Yeah,
I remember as a kid, there was a kid in my kindergarten class. He died of asthma. Died from an asthma attack. Pretty much my entire childhood, that was the only kid I ever saw that had asthma. Now every kid's got asthma.
Or ADHD. Or is neurodivergent. I don't know what the fuck that's the new one now.
Yeah, that means you have a broken head and it's okay. And you know what's funny? You know where they got that off of?
No, where?
The movie Divergent with Shannon Woolley.
I haven't seen it, but I'll pull it up. Hang on.
Oh, it's a dystopian fantasy. Well, you know,
like
nightmare
Blade
fantasy
Runner?
flick. Similar, but like their society consists of three groups of people: administrators, like teachers and laborers, and then you have the protectors.
Are the women the protectors?
Well, there are women that are protectors. The main one, she picks that following. But see, they do this like this neurosimulation that's supposed to tell you which one you're good at. Well, and they do 3, and well, she like passes all 3 of them, which you're not supposed to do. Because you're dangerous if you're divergent. You're dangerous. You'll break their society if you don't fall into one of these categories.
Oh, so she's the unicorn.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Mother Nature?
Yeah.
Wants to take out. Mother Nature is always searching for purity. And it does not like mutations. But now we're overriding that by letting them either use their biological material to go with somebody else or to just outright buy babies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I was having I got thrown off a panel because I got thrown off a panel I was trying to, I was pulling up studies before 2010, 2008, before all this started, like really when you could still have like academic freedom. And I was just trying to say, like, look, like we were talking about the situation and I was like, look, there's a balance necessary. Like now that I have my own kids, I see it. It's like if two parents are heavy or fat, your kid, if you're in your kid's life in a good way, your kid mirrors you, they mimic you, they copy you, they follow, they do anything you do. My kid will pick up my toothbrush, my kid will pick up scissors, my kid picks up the phone, my kid picks up the remote control. my hardware I don't even put on in the same room with my kid because I don't want my kid to see it yet. You know what I mean? I don't want my kid to be near it. My kid might like find a bullets and she'll shake it because it makes noise. But when I'm putting on my holsters and everything, I don't even do it in front of her.
Yeah.
I don't want her to see it. When my wife carries her stuff, I don't want her to see it. I don't want her even, like she's just not, it's just no way. So like, and I was talking to people, I'm like, look, if both parents are fat, the probability is higher the kid will be fat. If both parents drink excessively, the kid will drink. If both parents smoke, the kid will smoke. There's a video on BitChute where an Indian guy, the wife brought out the birthday cake and lit the candles without the husband, and the kid's like 4, and the husband beats the crap out of the mother right in front of him, and the kid's watching it, and then when the husband stomps away, he starts punching the mom.
Yep.
And when I say all these things, everybody on the panel is like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they copy. I said, okay, well, what if both parents are gay? What if both parents are trans? What if both parents are a lesbian? You're telling me that 2 women, if they adopt a boy, are going to let him be a boy? But they don't want to talk about that.
No.
Oh, well, no, they're going to be the perfect parents.
Oh,
Did
you?
Please go ahead.
Did you see the TikTok with the 2 little black kids in diapers beating on the police and talking shit to the police?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Tell me that's not a learned behavior.
Here I got.
Tell me it's not being taught.
Here I got one. This is an old one I did, but I think it's still on. 5-year-old. Gotta move my mic. Hang on. Yeah, this one. Have you seen this one?
No.
This one.
Playing my song. Now right there. Now he doesn't know. He doesn't know, and he's trying to show the woman, whoever is filming this, hey, check this out.
He's trying to please his parents.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's all. Nothing. There's no animus in that kid right now.
Yeah, this is where I will disagree with some of Ock's DNA. I'm leaning now more on the nurture. He's being exposed to.
I think there's a DNA component, but I think it can be. It can be helped through nurture and education and
discipline.
Yes.
And discipline.
Because the first time I was on Ock Nation, and you can find the video today, right? I actually went up there to disagree with Ock. Because I've seen these guys in the military come in just straight out of the gangs and change.
With structure.
Yeah, with structure and discipline. And a concrete set of rules to follow.
But consequences for not following.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And I asked Ock, I said straight up, I said, man, I said, everything you're saying, right? I said, you are pretty much parroting what the KKK has been saying for 100 years. And I told him, and he said, yeah. I said, man, I said, that makes my heart hurt. Because it really does. I've never thought of myself as a white American before BLM. putting those two words together never even entered my mind. I was just an American.
Have you read his book that he always talks about?
Which one?
Negroes in Negroland.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can actually find that on Odyssey to listen to too.
Yeah, I read it, and the last third of the book is all the congressmen and all the letters that they wrote saying we have to send them back and pointing out the differences and everything, and like measuring the skull and the phrenology, the bumps on the skull, and I mean.
This was one of the most telling things about who's the Boston Indian, Elizabeth
Warren, Pocahontas.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
Yeah.
She literally used phrenology to try and explain why she thought her family was native.
Really?
Because she talked about the high cheekbones and the face structure. And nobody caught it.
Of course, it's not. Of course, it's not going to be here on Google. They're not going to show a Democrat in a bad light. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yep. Because she talked about how her aunt or her mom had like these really high cheekbones, like a native girl.
Well, natives do have.
Yes, but that's using phrenology to identify by race. You're not supposed to do that, especially on the left.
Oh, I see. So she was, but by their own logic, when the left does things, they're allowed to, and we're not.
Oh yeah.
Like,
they can get away with it.
For instance, have you seen the Stasi arrest that 60-year-old woman who spit in the BLM protesters' face? And
no,
she's getting 6 months in prison for spitting. Here, hang on, I'll pull it up. And her lawyer tried to say the reason she was spitting was because during COVID, everybody was getting too close to her. The spit was to get them away from her. Because as an old woman, if we're using the force spectrum, she's an old woman. How's she going to get 20-year-old kids away from her?
Yeah.
I have to go to the Post Millennial. Actually cover the story. Yeah, and it's like there's no way that she's not going to be allowed to use that rule.
Oh no, of course not. Well, it's like that guy in Kansas City that shot the kid at his front door.
Oh, Ralph Earl.
I can't remember, but it was the latest outrage story.
Yeah, the latest Floyd. Yeah.
Well, and if you read it, the guy said the kid tried to open the door. Here's an old dude, 10 o'clock at night, not expecting any visitors. Hear somebody, ring the doorbell or knock on the door. Goes to open the door, and the kid tries to open the glass door.
Do they have castle doctrine?
Yeah, that's a good shoot by state law. In Missouri, that's a good shoot.
But he's white.
And you see major news stations saying that, the guy shot him, then opened the door and shot him while he was laying on the ground. The guy never left his house. He never opened the door. He shot through the door.
And Ak pointed this out that in a video, he has a ramp on his house.
Yeah.
So
you're telling me.
Yeah.
you're telling me that kid didn't know where he was going to pick up his brothers at 10 o'clock at night on a weekday? That kid wasn't going to pick up his brothers.
Yeah, I think Ak was saying he was trying his first crime to fit in. I have no proof of that, but that's the speculation.
I'm looking at this this case for L.A. Wilkes. He's the
Philly cop.
The Philly cop, and it's that Rashid.
The woman at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Carter. No, Rashid Carter. It's
Rashid Carter. Hang on, I'll look.
Yeah, he disappeared down in Mississippi, and a month after they submitted a missing persons report, they found his remains that were gone through pretty heavily by hogs.
Was that,
yeah,
was that the one where they? Oh, and Crump went there, right?
Yep. And it doesn't add up. Anything involved in Crump just doesn't add up. Because like they pull up that picture of Rashid Carter, right? That was caught on somebody's game camera. All right, this guy was in town Saturday. Early evening Saturday, he goes to the police. He asks him for a ride, right? And then he asks him if he could stay in the police station. And the cop said no. Well, yeah, you don't just let people sleep in jail. The family's making it seem like they told him he couldn't stay on the property. No, he asked to sleep in a cell because they couldn't give him a ride to the next, to a town 20 miles away that was in another jurisdiction.
Wait, I was looking things up and then trying to follow. So you're saying his family wouldn't? I think I have it here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the picture, okay. Does this guy in this photo look like he's running?
I don't know.
He's 90 degrees to the ground. His back is straight. His left leg is straight.
Yeah, he might just be. It looks like he's just walking. Maybe.
Yeah, and he's got a big. They don't know. There wasn't enough like tissue to test, I guess.
You do a toxicology. Okay.
Yeah. Now. All right. Look at that big stick he's carrying. Look at the size of that branch.
Okay. Is he just going through a walk?
The family. No, go back to the picture. Go back to the picture.
Okay. Sure.
The family is trying to say in that picture, he's holding that branch as a weapon and he's running for his life and that he's bruised.
Okay. So he's holding this like a club.
Look at the size of that branch, right?
Yeah.
Too big to be effective as a weapon.
Yeah, it'd be slow swing.
So, what could this guy who already spent a night outside the night before, he spent a night homeless, what could this guy be doing the next day, right before dark, with a big stick in the woods? Maybe building a shelter to sleep in?
Or building a fire? Or looking for something?
Yeah. But his family is using this photo saying that he's bruised, which I'm sorry, those aren't bruises, they're shadows.
What, this stuff?
Yeah.
I don't, that just looks like a coloration, like you said.
It looks like shadows through trees, through leaves.
Yeah, because the sunlight's coming. Yeah, for sure.
But they're trying to say that, you know, this proves that he was running for his life.
He was being hunted.
Yeah. That's their claim. And it got down to like 47 that night. It started off in the 80s. It got, you know, up into the 80s, but at night it was 47, which is cold, more than cold enough to suffer hypothermia.
So he was trying to build a fire, you think, maybe? Yeah.
Either trying to build a fire or build a shelter to stay out of the wind or whatever.
Or like
make a lean-to, yeah.
Lean-to, yeah.
That's the only reason I can see is a fire or a lean-to for a branch that size to be carrying it around. It's way too big for a weapon.
What did they talk to the hunter who took the photo? Whose equipment
No, it was a hunting. It was a game cam.
Okay.
It was a game camera, and as soon as he found it, he reported it to police. Police went and got the dogs. Once they verified it was him on the photo, and that's when they found the remains.
Oh, so between those points of the camera photo and the dogs, his remains were already eaten.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
This photo was taken the day he disappeared.
Was there any scat or like anything?
Nope. The cop right now that it's still an open investigation, so the cops can't say anything. But the family is out there. Type in Rashid Carter's skull, and I'll show you another thing they're doing, and it pisses me off.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hang on one sec. Oh dang it. It sounds like a case of missing 411. What the freak?
What the hell? Click on that first picture. Yep. All right. The family is saying that the head was severed from the spine. No, it was just detached. It wasn't severed. Severed is a cut, a purposeful cut, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now look at that skull. The family is representing to everybody that that's the way the skull was found. When it's not the way it was found, that's the result from the autopsy.
Yeah, they got to take the brain out. And
Yes. Yes.
Wait. Are you saying they paid to take the body? How did they get the body?
The police turned after the autopsy, the police turned the remains over to the family. And they literally took the box of remains and laid them out on a table for everybody to see and are representing this skull as how it was found and not explaining to people that no, that's not how it was found. That's a result of the autopsy.
Wow.
Yeah, look at the picture next to it. The guy standing there in front of the box. Pull that up.
That's the best I can get.
Down underneath. Third picture, second row. Click on that, the ABC News picture.
The what? ABC?
Yeah, the second row of pictures. The woman in the black dress and the guy in the t-shirt. Yeah, hit that. It'll bring up the story and the picture.
I do hit that, but it takes me off of to another screen. Here, let me I got a Twitter article up, but it didn't go to it.
Okay.
1 sec.
Yeah.
That was goofy. It usually just goes.
But they're trying to represent. Yeah. They literally put this kid's bones on display for everybody to see.
But that's what the left does.
Yeah.
That's what that.
And
Georgia.
Dude, right now, everybody believes that the skull was found like that.
that he was hunted down by the good old boys, and what, they took a
Yeah.
sledgehammer to his
Yeah.
head or something. Oh my god.
Well, and there's other issues too. There's a text that the mother will not release, that she says that somebody was threatening her kid, but she won't release it. A supposed private investigator said some horrid crap, but they won't release that report either, and they won't release the report from their own independent autopsy. You know, the police can't release details. They can't make a statement. And the only thing ever told to the family from the police was that they cannot figure out, because of the condition of the remains, how he died. But that they found no evidence of foul play. Because if he was dismembered by a blade, there would be marks on the bones.
Right.
There are none. There's no holes. There's no, gunshot where a gunshot broke a rib or several broken ribs. There's no evidence of foul play. And the story changed in that text that they won't talk about, that it was 3 guys in a white truck. Well, as soon as Ben Crump got involved, that story changed to 3 trucks full of white guys.
So now we're just playing Whisper Down the Lane.
Yeah. It's a huge game of telephone. And of course, everybody just believes it. I think, due to other things with the case, I think in the end, you're going to find this guy had a drug problem, and previously he had done a bout of homelessness where he lived in the woods. Because when the family came to town to look for him themselves, they brought ATVs, which is not something you would normally do if you're looking for a missing 25-year-old that disappeared 20 miles away at a hotel.
You think they know something?
Yeah, I think he's got an issue in the past where he is taken to the woods to live due to homelessness or due to drug use or mental illness or both.
Or maybe not even taking his psych meds. Just wants to.
Who knows? At this point, we can't find anything out because the family won't release anything. And any case Ben Crump's involved with, you see this same game plan every time. Every case he's involved in.
Did you see?
And the simple fact that there's one picture of him after he was like 21 years old shown. All the rest of them are like when he was in high school and straight out of college. Nothing recent.
But but again, it's that lefty pattern of, okay, so let me make the comparison. Can you see this about Giorgio Milani? Did you see that before she won, she posted a video of a Ukrainian woman being raped by an African legal, and everybody just got all butthurt and in their feelings and shit because it made one of their playthings look bad.
Yeah,
and everybody was saying, the left was saying, oh, you're basically making the woman get raped twice, and show respect for the victim. And it's like, what
at
the
the
fuck
same
are you
time,
talking?
they'll blame the victim.
Well, yeah, that's true. But
and they'll
at the
say
same
it's because he doesn't know our social culture.
Well, no. Well, the point I'm trying to make is the hypocrisy is how often did I have to see this video? Was this video not by George Floyd not played daily? Daily.
Oh, 100 times a day. But also with this video, right? Fast forward to where he's sitting up against the wall, right? And it's a security camera video. No.
Well, this is chopped.
Yeah. There's a video where they take him out of the car and they put him right here, right? This video here. Now, notice how the aspect has changed. The aspect ratio of the picture has changed. Do you know why that was?
What do you mean by the aspect? What do you mean?
The size, the width, and the height of the video has changed. It's not raw video. It's been edited.
Smaller?
No. They're trying to hide the bag of dope that he dropped out of his pocket when the cops put him on the ground.
Oh, the whole fucking trial was bullshit.
Yeah.
I watched the whole trial.
I know.
I watched the whole trial.
Oh, I know.
They removed the pages, his lawyer brought up that they removed the pages out of the manual of how to arrest a guy by kneeling on him.
Yeah. Chauvin was doing as he was taught.
Correct. Yes.
He was not murdered.
Here, let me. So, that's the hypocrisy of what I'm pointing out is like.
Yeah.
So Giorgia Melani shows this video of this person having a terrible thing happening to them. Yeah. And I wish somebody would have blown the rapist away, a millstone for you, motherfucker. And everyone's like, oh, how could you show this? But it's like, well, you're the wrong color. That's why.
Well, and see, my thing is even with the Rashid Carter case, right? I care about the truth. That's my only interest. Right? If this kid was hunted down by a bunch of rednecks and killed, hang him in front of the courthouse.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'll pull the platform out from underneath him myself. But this shit has become so divisive and is tearing apart our country. Because without the truth and without being able to freely speak it, you will never solve one problem.
Yeah, correct. The lie is not the truth. Right. Like in Philly, when this guy, this is the guy that Philly went up for, Walter Wallace, punched a cop, got 24 months, broke into a woman's home in Philly and put a gun to her head, sitting on her, was beating his parents, on the day, had 8 children. I'm sure he beat his children. There's just no record of that. I'm sure there is, but they won't show that. And when they called the police on him 3 times that day, the 3rd time was his sister because he was beating his parents. They used this photo. This photo of him, and it's like, that's not what he looked like.
Yeah.
He comes outside with his big ass kitchen knife and,
Well, where's the picture of Trayvon with his grill throwing gang sign?
Yeah, and his tats. Right. They used a picture of him when he was 12.
Yeah.
And somebody pointed it out with the video from the guy in New York. It was a rainbow coalition of people trying to stop him. They don't show that they put him in a recovery position, like if someone's puking.
Yeah.
And somebody said they pumped up the gamma to make the black guy look lighter.
Yep.
And
oh yeah, and nobody will show the full video where the guy's threatening people and saying he'll take out anybody on this train.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like I just
and because my biggest issue is the truth, because you will never solve one problem unless you can tell the truth about it. I don't care if the truth hurts people's feelings. I don't care. I just want to know the truth. And they cover this shit up so bad.
Why do you think they cover it up so much?
Because they know the truth. Let's face the facts. All right. If you look at the 94 crime bill, right?
Yeah.
I was alive and paying attention through the entire crack epidemic with crime and everything. It's why we moved out of Philly. After the 94 crime bill was passed, a year after that, single motherhood actually went down in the hood. Because they had taken so many of these guys off the street, put them in jail.
Now, are you telling me that the CIA didn't just drop off crack in Philadelphia? Just like they
Yes,
dropped
sir.
off the guns?
Yes, sir. I'm telling you that didn't happen.
They said that yesterday for Chicago.
The cocaine that did come in under their noses came into Mena, Arkansas, not Los Angeles. Because Barry Seals wasn't flying into Los Angeles. He wasn't flying into Chicago.
Is that the movie Tom Cruise was in?
Yeah.
What was his name?
That movie
Barry
is
Seals?
more true than you. I think Barry Seals, yeah.
So he would remind me. So he was a pilot and he was flying in from where? Where was he getting the drugs from?
From Central America.
Okay. This isn't like the Mujahideen in Operation Cobra where they're getting the poppy.
No.
So he was flying it into Arkansas and then it was just being shipped out everywhere?
Yeah.
No shit. No shit. So do you think then like you ever see Boys in the Hood when like Lawrence Fishburne is in front of the sign and he says, "This gentrification, how's that drugs getting here? We don't have any planes."
Bullshit. No, there is no truth to that shit.
So it came into Arkansas. So
and then went around the world, around the country.
Yeah.
It wasn't focused in Los Angeles. Wasn't focused in Chicago and New York. Everything in New York was coming up from Florida.
Yeah, from Miami, right? From the cigarette butts.
95 was the cocaine highway.
Yeah.
From Bangor, Maine to Florida.
What was that coming from Cuba? Where was that? Or that was coming
no, it's coming from South America too. It was just coming in on remote airstrips and boats into Florida. It would island hop its way.
That's crazy.
But people believe this. Like, I can tell you how the guns get in Chicago.
No,
Chicago is the Midwest's largest rail hub. Have you ever seen pictures of the Chicago rail yard?
I've seen the kids ripping the TVs off of them last year or the year before.
Well, guess what? Guys from the neighborhood also work at the rail yard. They have access to manifests, bills of lading. So they know what's in each car. I watched this in Philly when I was a kid. If we needed a new appliance, we didn't go to the appliance store. We went and sat outside the port with a CB.
This sounds like some Goodfellas shit.
Because they would auction off stuff. Like, say 5 guys that worked in the port, either running, crane operators, whoever, stevedores moving the containers, right? Say 5 guys needed a new range. Well, they'd find a container that was being unloaded that had stoves in it. They would puncture the container with a forklift in an industrial accident. That container would get moved to insurance bonding. It would get inspected and then go to scrap. And then those 5 guys would get their ranges out of it, and they would auction the rest off on the CB.
Can I show you something?
Yeah.
I've noticed this myself, like watching, because again, like I think you're familiar with all the YouTube streets I run into.
Yeah.
There was like this. So like when Ak was talking programs, I was having this interview with someone talking to them. This is a program in Philly called Yeah Philly, and I hate this guy and I like this guy because this guy actually gave pushback to Krasner after the Roxborough High School shooting. Krasner actually had to go on the news, and this dude actually chewed him out. I couldn't believe it.
That guy's been in Philly news since I was a kid.
Yeah. And when this guy said that, like, okay, so there were 3 Republicans and 2 Black Democrats from the Pennsylvania Senate that wanted Krasner's records, and he said no. And then the Senate found him in contempt. And then I thought that they pussed out because the Senate said they weren't going to press charges. But during the court case, Krasner said, "Oh, you can't do anything." But the Democrat judge turned around and said, "Yes, they can." And that's when he started the anti-carjacking unit.
Yeah.
Now, I was wishing they would have thrown him in prison because LA said that after the shooting at La Scala's, and I went to Community College of Philly, when that kid shot the dude in the face with the armed robbery with his mom, the strong arm robbery, they said they wanted to charge that kid. And I was terrified because I was thinking if Philly fell, there go the gun rights. But because Krasner was hiding and not charging blacks with gun charges, they weren't able to do things. Also, we have Harrisburg has a chapter of the Gun Owners of America.
Yeah.
And after that shooting, Mayor Kenny he wrote this bullshit bill. "Oh, you can't take guns into rec centers. I'm a good Democrat." And then the Gun Owners of America said, "Yo, fuck you. We're taking that shit down."
Yeah.
And they got rid of that shit. So if I ever come into any money, I'm giving part of it to the GOA because they actually do shit in this state.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry for the tangent.
Oh, you're good.
This kid right here said he had a gun when he was 14. And he got house arrest and an ankle monitor.
Yeah.
And I know in Pennsylvania that if you commit a straw purchase, that's 10 years. If you buy a gun at an FFL and you give it to someone else, that is 10 years in Pennsylvania. But
and plus you have federal time on top of that you can get if the feds decide to prosecute.
Well, they're not going to prosecute a black kid.
No.
But why don't they ask this kid, where did you get the gun? Like, or here, how about this one? Baltimore mom. Did you see this one? Baltimore mom leaves Baltimore. Oh, this stupid story. Baltimore mom. This Baltimore mom leaves Baltimore, and she was showing a video of her son, and her son is 17. Oh my God, what is this bullshit?
Oh, they're showing the one the mom came out and snatched the kid up by the back. You know what? More mothers like that is what they need in that hood.
Well, okay. So this one, all right. So she's interviewed here. So she shows a video of her 17-year-old son being attacked by a gang because he doesn't want to join the gang. A 12-year-old boy points a gun at her son. This mom goes to the mom of the 12-year-old and is like, yo, your son pointed a gun at my son. Then she moves out of Baltimore because her daughter called her. Her 17-year-old son took an Uzi to the school in his backpack. Now, she says she turned the gun over to the police. Where did her son get the gun? And this question. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
I can even explain why the guns in the 80s, which guns were used in, say, LA versus Florida versus Philly and New York and Boston.
Oh, shit.
Simply based on the location of the importers of those guns. Florida was awash with MAC-10s.
Yeah.
Because the importer was out of Miami.
Well, the Haitians used them a lot.
The West Coast was all Chinese AKs. Because all the importers were based in Los Angeles. And Uzis were all over Philly, New York, and Boston because IMI Importing is out of Philly.
No shit.
So it wasn't the CIA. It was what was available on the legal market because of proximity.
Do you know my co-host is from my co-host? We were watching this video. My co-host was. I was asking my co-host, like, why don't they ever ask these kids where they got the gun? Right. I think it's because it would show some level of accountability. They have to be seen as a victim, right?
Yeah.
She said to me, she said, "Oh, you could just." She's in Chicago. "Oh, you could just go to Indiana and you can just buy guns." And I said,
"No, you can't."
No, you can't. I said in Pennsylvania, you can. In Pennsylvania, when you go to a gun store, you can buy anything in the gun store except the gun. Once you buy the gun, you got to show residency. And then they run you through state police. And then they run you through FBI. And if there's a ding, you ain't buying the gun.
You can only buy long guns, not pistols out of state. To buy, like, say I went to Pennsylvania and found a pistol I liked, right?
Oh, you ain't buying.
I would have to pay them for it. They would ship it to my dealer in Kansas,
and then
where
you go
I
to your
could
FFL
pick it
in
up.
Kansas.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But don't. Okay, so in Kansas, don't they run a background check when you buy it there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, in FFL, I have to do the same thing here.
Yep.
I've sold personal revolvers to, but we do it at an FFL and they run a background check on the guy buying it.
Yep.
Otherwise it's a felony.
Yeah.
I can't. And like,
well, and she's saying that, people from Chicago can go over to Indiana and buy pistols. No, you can't. Number one, because you're not from Indiana. And because you're from Illinois, you can't buy a pistol in Indiana unless you transfer it to an Illinois dealer.
Where you'd have to still run a background check at the FFL.
And where these kids are getting these guns now is they're making ghost guns off those 80% kits.
Yeah.
And there was a story in Atlanta where a kid, like 15-year-old kid, was running a gun business, selling these, building them and selling them. And he got in a shootout with one of his customers.
I'll have to find that.
Yeah,
that's insane, man. I just my point is, why don't they fucking ask these kids where they get them? Like, they're on the news. Oh, you got a gun. Where'd you get it? Oh, I got house arrest.
Yeah, and most of them, they're getting them because they're stealing them from houses and cars.
Yeah.
That's where most of them come from other crime. You know, and I'm sorry, but just because you offer someone crack or cocaine or a firearm doesn't mean they have to take it.
Yeah.
I've been offered all kinds of drugs in my life and said no, thank you.
My counter to people when they say guns make you violent, I use the Koreans from '92. I'm like, look, you had these people from South Korea, you had these men who had to serve after the Korean War for 2 or 3 years in the military, and the Koreans in Koreatown, when I have all this footage, they have all this hardware. I mean, they got hardware out the ass, but I can't find. I've been going in the Wayback Machine. I can't find a single video of a Korean drive-by or a Korean shooting.
No,
I can't find one. So they had all this hardware, and they could have easily taken over South Central if they didn't. If they said, you know what, I don't want to work 70 hours a week in a liquor store. Fuck it, we're going to push out everyone else. But they only used them to defend their property.
Yeah.
So I hate that argument. Oh, guns make people violent. Oh, do knives make people violent in the United Kingdom too? You can't do it.
No. And the last thing gun owners want to do is have to shoot somebody with it.
No, I don't want to do anything like that. Never. No.
And see when liberals talk about guns and how just being around them makes you insane and violent.
That's crazy.
Well, what it is psychological projection. Because they're looking at themselves in their mind. Well, if I was in this situation, I had a gun, I'd just blow the son of a bitch away.
That's easy.
And they're projecting their mental illness onto everybody else.
So you mean so psychologically they want to commit violence?
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
And they don't trust themselves not to if the tool was there. It's classic psychological prediction. I'm going to say that you're going to do this because this is what I would do.
That's a typical thing people on the left do. Like if you speak out against marriage for like the LGBTQ, they say, oh, well, since you don't like them so much, you must be one yourself. Okay. I can see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like, the first sign of a racist is saying you're not a racist.
Well, I don't want dead kids. I hope that's fair.
And that's that. Yeah. But that's the thing. Unless we can have truth, unless we can speak truth in these conversations,
we're done.
Nothing will ever get solved. And guess what? The truth is going to hurt people's feelings. The truth is ugly and it's raw, but it is the truth. I mean, have you seen the numbers? It was from the UCR. Have you ever followed, what's her channel? Rising Crime News?
No. Is she on YouTube?
Yeah. She did a story today about the latest murder numbers.
I do apologize. I got to step out to hit the work, but pull this up. I got it like 1 or 2 minutes. Rising Crime News. And I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Right there. That one. The highest murder rates.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, I hate these commercials.
Yeah, YouTube is.
There always seems to be this ongoing argument of who is committing the majority of murders in America. Those that know the facts know who it is, and often those who know don't report the truth. So I came across this graph using homicide numbers as reported by the FBI for 2021, and let's take a look at it. These numbers are based on a per 100,000 person basis,
Oh my God.
which is really the only accurate way to judge these numbers. If we just look at the all ages category, we can see that white females commit the least homicides, then Hispanic females, and then those dastardly white men, which ironically commit fewer murders on a per capita basis than Black women. It's not quite half as many, but it's close. Then comes Hispanic males at over 3 times the white males, and then Black males commit the most, and it's not even close. Black men on a per 100,000 person basis commit murder at more than 18 times that of white men. The age group that is the worst for men and Black females is the 15 to 24 group, with the 25 to 34 right on their heels. For white and Hispanic women, it's the flip-flop, and the worst is the 25 to 34 group, with the 15 to 24 close behind. If you were to combine the murder rates of the Black men and women, you would have a murder rate of 70.2, of Hispanic men and women, 14.3, and of white men and women, 4.2. Baltimore, a city that is 62% Black, had a murder rate of 58.7 last year. In fact, researchers compared 45 of the largest cities on per capita homicides and came up with the 5 worst cities being Memphis, New Orleans, Baltimore, St. Louis, and Detroit, all majority Black cities. St. Louis is actually 45% Black and 45% white, just slightly more Blacks than whites, but not a full percentage more. Detroit's at 77, Memphis at 64, Baltimore at 62%, and New Orleans at 59.2. And all of these cities have 2 things in common: the people who run them and declining populations, along with the high murder rates. So the numbers don't lie. And in spite of what the media would like you to believe, those dastardly white men are actually less dangerous than even the Black women in America.
Yeah, I've heard that. And isn't even that skewed, because in 2016 didn't they start mixing Latinos with the whites category?
Well, they started, the FBI, they did it kind of sneakily, right?
Well, they always do it sneakily.
They do white, they do race, and then they do ethnicity at the end of the graph, right? So where you have to scroll to get to that information. And then also they present it in a different way, so you have to use 2 different graphs to extrapolate the data to get the real data.
Would you be willing to do that at some point? Could I do it? Could I do that? Would you be willing to go over that?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I apologize. I appreciate you coming on my channel. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, man. I'm just interested in the truth, man, because we can't solve problems without the truth.
No, for sure. Yeah, I'm just trying.
You know, we're just excuse after excuse after excuse for bad behavior and cultural decline. There's no amount of money that can fix the Black community.
Yeah, it's the sunk cost. It's the sunk cost fallacy.
As until their culture changes, nothing will change.
Yeah. But here, man, if you're on tomorrow, I'll be on tomorrow, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right, you take care. I'll talk to you, man.
All right, you too.
Right. Later.